Well, I can't start this off by not congratulating Dabo and the crew over there. What an awesome night that was to watch them, and shoot, right before that, what a great afternoon watching Brad and his crew down in Miami open up. So it was a wonderful day to be a Tiger yesterday, and maybe we carried a little of that momentum into today. I was proud of our group. It wasn't perfect, but I think we got better. We definitely showed spurts of being, who we can become. But just the feeling around the bench, started at walkthrough or shoot around this morning. We're trying to create that it factor, that togetherness, and it's slowly coming. And so I'm proud of them. And there's some individual performances. Obviously, Tessa 16 and 10, Mia 15 and 4 steals, no turnovers. I think that obviously Loyal. They packed the paint in on her, and she became a playmaker for others today, which is obviously it's good to see, right? That she can not only score for herself, but 10 assists is a career high for her. So a lot of good things. I'm proud of them, and now it's a great week to continue to get better.
Coach, turnovers and points off of turnovers were huge for you guys today, and it feels like you guys are at your best when you get out in transition and get the ball in the hands of your guards. Talk a little bit about 27 points off of 16 Radford turnovers and how things were kind of flowing in transition.
Yeah, we're still trying to get our spacing. I think we're crossing the grain a little bit too early. But that all started, like you just mentioned, turnovers. I felt like early on Radford can be very methodical at times, and with how we play, we don't pressure you, we don't deny a ton, and so I thought we kind of just sat back and allowed them to move. And so we switched coverages there in the second quarter. We blew a couple coverages. I think I called a timeout. I may have blacked out in that timeout. Just frustrated that we did not execute those coverages. And then we came out and trapped the ball screen a couple times, got out, got a couple steals, and kind of blew that game open there in the middle of the second quarter. So we got to continue, because I do think we are our best in transition, but we're slowly becoming a better half-court team.
A couple of early substitutions tonight, just last non-con game and trying to figure out, or last non-con game before conference play, and trying to figure out rotations and tinker with some lineups. Can you give us some insight into those decisions?
Yeah. The reality is we learn, and I'm learning this group, and what motivates, what challenges them, what pushes them. We went back and watched film, and I just feel like that we have too many mental mistakes, and we don't have enough urgency, right? And so, to be honest, that's what those substitution patterns were, right? It was if you blew a coverage, right? Not if you made or missed a shot, right? But if you blew a coverage or did not play with extreme effort, then it was going to be somebody else's turn, because we do have a deep bench over there, and that's not how I want to necessarily play. But I think it's what's best for this team right now. As I've mentioned the last couple press conferences, I'm building a program, and that starts with culture, right? And it's why I love watching Brad and his team play. It's why I love Dabo and what he stands for. It's what we're going to try to build here, right, inside of women's basketball, and discipline is part of that, right? And I thought that they responded when they got challenged in the moments of if they had to come out. They knew they knew they had made a mistake. They accepted it and went back and tried to fix it. And so it was just my way of holding them accountable today.
Speaking of playmakers, we had, of course, Mia, Tessa, Hannah, all within double figures. But I kind of want to ask you about Anya and Summer Evans as they came off the bench, kind of really heavy on the rebounds, a lot of different points from them. Just kind of discussing how essential they are to your offense.
Yeah, I mean, the games we've struggled, we've not had a ton of production off that bench, and even though that we feel like we have a deep bench. And so, yesterday wasn't a normal day before game practice. We competed yesterday, right? Because I think we got to get more physical inside. We got to have some rebounding from some of our bigger guards and or centers, and then we just got to get some more production. And I think that Summa has continued to work. She hadn't been playing her best, but I thought she gave us 22 really good minutes today. She can help stretch the floor, her length on the defensive end. It's just got to be with a clear mind, right? Continue to play, because them two will play a pivotal role if we're going to have a really successful ACC schedule conference.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about about Summer as well. I think today was her best game as a Tiger and also plus 25 in those 22 minutes. Can you talk about if the game's starting to kind of slow down for her a little bit at this level? She seems to be making quicker decisions and be a little bit more confident with the fluidity of her movements.
Yeah, I think so. We've kind of changed up. Maybe it's been my fault. I've been playing her at multiple positions, and there's a lot of confusion, right? Am I at the 4? Am I at the 3? How do we run this action? Who am I guarding? And so I try to simplify it, right? If you watched her all day today, and even the last game, but it's becoming comfortable now, right, is what's keep you as a stretch 4 where you can be simplified, right? If you're coming behind a ball screen and they want to tag, her ability to shoot it, or we drive it, kick one more, and be a true 3-and-D kid and be simplified off the bounce, right? I think we've had so much in for her because I think she's capable of that, and maybe we get to that by the end of the year. But how does she get back to having success? Because we need her, right? And that's where, again, you got to be proud of her because she could have folded. She's had a tough month, right, from her expectation and ours. But she's kept working. And again, we're going to need her for us to have a good year.
Hannah Cohn came off the bench tonight for the first time this season, had 12 points, which is a part of the 31 you were referencing from the bench unit. Talk a little bit about Hannah having the ultimate green light within the offense and just kind of the energy it brings to not just the bench but the players on the court when she's able to knock down a big transition 3.
Yeah, I think she's the best shooter in the country when she shoots in rhythm. And, we got to continue to find her. We got to continue to learn how to get it to her, and she's got to learn how to hunt it. I thought she shot it with a green light tonight. My challenge to her was she didn't come off the bench because she didn't make shots the last game, right? It's other stuff, right? And when she got subbed in and out today, it wasn't because of shots. It's the other stuff. And we can't lose sight of those things matter just as much as it is how she stretches the floor and she shoots that thing. But also maybe it's another way that you don't scout the bench as hard as you do the starters, right? And although I'm sure they plan on her as a starter coming in, maybe that's a way that she can get a couple other easy ones. Because you watch, there's not a ton of daylight out there for her because everyone knows her ability to really shoot it. So, but proud, right? Like she got challenged after the Florida game in film session. She practiced so dang hard yesterday. There was no woe is me attitude. She came off the bench today and she wanted to compete, right? She's a great kid, a great teammate, and somebody that I'm very proud of to, be a part of our program.
We saw the ACC championship last night in football. We saw Brad and the guys down in Coral Gables start off conference play 1-0. Your first conference game as the head coach here at Clemson coming up this Sunday against Wake Forest. Talk a little bit about that moment for you personally as the Clemson coach, and then what the message is going to be to your group over the course of this week.
Yeah, it's exciting. You look at the landscape, it opened up today, so I was able to check a few of the scores. It's just different, right? When you get into the league play, each game matters that much more. And so not only is it an opener in the ACC, but we get to go on the road, right? We haven't played a true road game yet. And so we're coming off finals, so we're going to have to balance that. But I'm excited, right? I'm proud to represent this women's basketball program as a leader, to be in the best women's basketball conference in the country. And now it's time to show who we are, right? Yes, we got a couple more non-conference games, but these ones matter so much. And so we're going to take this week to continue to get better. It's another good week because I think that we got to continue to challenge them, where we'll have tomorrow off. We'll have a couple hard days there in the middle of finals, and hopefully that's a little break for them. And then, another off day towards maybe Thursday as you get 2 days of prep as you headed up to Wake Forest.
For you as a coach, coming from a league that you dominated and got everybody's best shot in league play for 2 years, now you're a little bit of the underdog and you're playing against some of the best programs in the country over the last decade of women's college basketball. What does that mentality shift look like for you from getting everyone's best shot to Clemson hasn't been a majorly respected power in women's basketball historically? Yeah,
it's you sleep a lot better at night knowing the pressure's all over there. I also think that I just mentioned every game matters that much more, but not to the extent as it did in the Southern Conference. You think about, especially when the tournament comes around, right? Like our work now is in the conference slate, so the tournament is a little bit different feeling, right? Of in the Southern Conference, you got to win, you got to have a great seed and go win 3 games in a row, no matter how good of a year you had. Where here, you're going to go up, and there's going to be days that you do the beating on, and there's going to be days that you get beaten up, and you got to flip the page quickly because it is night in and night out. And so to get off to a good start means a lot for us. But it does make me feel a lot better knowing that not many people are thinking about us.
23 assists on 28 made field goals, including a career-high 10 assists from point guard Loyal McQueen. Talk to us a little bit about what you think the ceiling is for your offense when the team and Loyal are distributing the ball that well.
Yeah, hopefully way more efficient than we've been, at times, right? We just got to be more consistent. And I think that plays a big piece of it, but the reality is we had a post presence too, right? You watch some of these games, and we've either been really post heavy, and guards have just kind of been out there. We've had games where our guards have done a lot of work, and our posts are not getting a ton of production. And I think that when we can have a balance inside and out, whether that be post touching it or guards getting in there driving and kicking, we have some skill set that is very hard to guard. We moved better today. We had better spacing today. And that's all part of, this group learning me and how we want to play, right? We're not a stand there and watch one person dribble. And we've had definitely portions of games where that's what it is. And we can't be that. We're not good enough to do that. But we are really good if we play for each other, right? And that some of that means, are you going to cut hard? Some of that means, are you going to screen? Having a tempo to us. And when we do that, we look like we're a pretty good basketball team, right? And that's the exciting piece, is that we're slowly getting better at that.
On the other side of the court, 5th game in 9 games this season that the team's held its opposition to under 50 points. Another game against UAB where you held the Blazers to 52. How happy are you with the defensive performance today and through the non-conference?
Yeah, I think it's ahead of our offense. We've defended better than I maybe have expected, but we still have spurts, right? Like our defense has to initiate our offense, but our offense can't dictate our defense, and that's where I feel like when our offense is going, we're a much better defensive team. We got to be consistent on both sides of the ball, whether we're having a good shooting night, whether we're not. And so that's where I feel like our lulls have been in some of the other losses. But overall, to hold them to 30% from the floor, we probably fouled too much, getting them to the line 18 times. But that field goal percentage is a big number for us, right? If we can hold teams to that number while we shoot 50% and you rebound, you got a good chance to win basketball games. And so I do feel like, too, as we've gotten a little bit smarter at executing some game plan stuff, right? Today, we didn't come in thinking we were going to trap ball screens, right? That was like plan B. But I felt like we were able to make that adjustment on the fly and got some steals and allowed us to play. Like that's what allows us to coach, right? And, you see some of these programs that they roll the ball out there and they're just more talented than whoever they're playing. We're not that, and that's okay, right? But because of that, we have to have an intent. We have to have a focus, a togetherness, so that coaches can coach, right? And we can try to take away what some opposing teams, maybe what they get doing to us during a game. And today, trapping was one of those.
Coach, referencing that togetherness, Kwok said on the broadcast it felt like the most complete game thus far from this team. He also said you felt like the group was having more fun than usual. It felt like Loyal specifically was showing a little bit more emotion and leadership. Can you talk about how your group is starting to kind of gel together with the most newcomers in the country? Obviously, it's been an uphill battle having to get everybody together in an expedited process, but it feels like you guys are starting to turn the corner.
Yeah, that's a credit to them in that locker room, right? I won't speak too much of it, but I feel like that they've done a really good job outside of our practice times, our games, to continue to learn one another, build that bond. But I also believe that some of that is just maturing, right? Like Loyal is so important to us. She's in a role she's never been into with the ability to score as much as she has or is for us, but also be a playmaker. And then there's got to be a trust, a feel. And some of that is why Addie Grace played 33 minutes. She allows Loyal to be more comfortable, right? Because Addie Grace knows exactly what I'm looking for, how I want it, and there's just another calming voice out there that can help her. And also, again, Addie knows how I want to uplift people, right? And so I think you're exactly right. It is one of our more complete games for sure, but it just felt different, right? It felt fun. It felt back to that it factor. That was a little piece of us creating that today.
Yeah, can you talk a little bit about the energy from the bench, which seemed more uptick today, and then that play that Loyal had at the end of the third quarter where she had the sequence with the score and the block where she was screaming and coming to the bench. It felt like everybody was really in unison tonight.
Yeah, no, and I want them to, like, I had a text conversation with Tessa last night, and she was just asking about how she can be better, and I said, I'm okay with showing emotion. Just look over the sideline. I have plenty of it, right? But use that positive emotion just as much as when you get upset if something goes wrong, right? And Loyal, same way. And when you do that, it starts to build. It becomes fun. Oh, and it's like, wait a second, I can do that, right? And it's not to be arrogant, none of that, right? It's more of a for each other thing. And then you start to get that feel of like, wow, like she's got my back. And she just got excited for me. And that's what we're trying to build. And I'm 100% with you. You could definitely feel that today.
Any more questions?
Thank y'all so much. Go Tigers. Thank you.